At this time, I'd like to introduce our first presenter. Doug Hoeferle is Senior Product Manager with System Sensor. Doug, take it away.
Thanks, David. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar on the i4 system. We're very excited to have you with us. I'll start out by answering one of the big questions that you probably have. Is this product released and available? The answer to that is yes, it's available at your local security distributor. It was released earlier this month. So if you're unable to find it on the shelves, please have them place an order so that you can get these devices. Today we are going to cover what the i4 system is, what the 4I principles are that allow this unique system to deliver the most cost-effective and advanced carbon monoxide and smoke detection solution on the market. We're also going to learn the basics of how to install, test, and maintain the i4 system. So what exactly is the i4 system? Available in both the 2- and 4-wire version, the i4 detector is the first low-voltage combination carbon monoxide and smoke detection detector on the market. It's for use with conventional security and fire panels. The i4 system is made up of a detector and a panel interface module that enables connection of the detector to the module and detector to detector using either 2 wires or 4 wires, depending on which system you choose. The first I principle of the i4 system is integration. The i4 combines CO and smoke detection into just one device that's not much larger than our current i3 smoke detector. This is obviously very important to homeowners for aesthetic reasons, but for dealers, it allows you to simplify installations, making them more economical without sacrificing any of the functionality of independent devices. Let's take a moment to discuss the i4 interface module. This module integrates up to 12 devices to any conventional security panel. The module is required to interpret the alarm and maintenance signals from the detector to the panel. It also gives added functionality to the system, including interconnection, and allows for easy retrofits of existing installations without having to pull any more wires. The module also works with our i3 series smoke detector models that have built-in thermal and sounders. Those models you probably know of as 2WTAB and 4WTAB. So with the ability to use the smoke detectors, your installations aren't limited to only combination detectors. Often asked why you can't just wire directly to the panel. There's 2 reasons for that. One, at each detector you would be wiring 8 terminals, which would obviously be cumbersome and difficult. And then secondly, a detector that would have 8 terminals on it would be much larger in diameter than what you see here with our i4 detector. So back on the detector, the detector has a built-in 85 decibel sounder. The sounder will alarm in temporal 3 pattern for a smoke alarm, and it will alarm in a temporal 4 pattern for a CO alarm. One of the added value features of the module is that it will alarm and sound all devices on the loop will be interconnected, so that when one device goes into alarm, every device will sound. David, I think it's time for a poll question.
All right. Thank you, Doug. So the first poll question we have come up is, do you currently install carbon monoxide detection as part of your residential security and fire systems? And I realize we have distributors with us as well, so maybe the question there would be, do you currently sell carbon monoxide within residential security and fire? So if you could go ahead and answer that question. Doug and Justin, we do have a couple of questions posted already. Let me just answer those while people are coming in to vote on the poll question. And I do encourage use the chat feature as part of the GoToWebinar control panel to post your questions to our presenters. The first question is about the module. Will future fire panels have the software protocol needed to not use a module in the future?
I think, David, this is Doug. I think that's a definite possibility somewhere down the road. Obviously, it's more dependent on the panel manufacturers as well.
Okay, all right. And the second question that's come in, and then we'll go ahead and close the poll question and get back to our presentation. But second question, I believe the answer is yes on this, but is the module also compatible with the 2WB?
No, it is not compatible with the 2WB. It's compatible with the 2WTA-B.
Oh, sorry. Very good. I knew it was available with some of the i3s, so very good. Okay. So 84% of you did vote. I want to show you, one of our promises is we'll show you the results of a poll question. So Doug and Justin, looks like yes, 66% have indicated that they're currently installing or currently selling carbon monoxide as part of their residential security and fire systems. And then, of course, 34% have said no. That's the balance of the 100. So to those 34%, you're in the right place. You're going to learn a lot about carbon monoxide detection today. Let me go ahead and take the poll question down, and I believe we're transitioning to Justin Mayer. Justin is product manager with System Sensor. Justin, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, David. So, as Doug alluded to earlier, there's 4 different I's within the I4 system, and he covered the first one, integration. So we're going to now take a look at the second I principle, and that's intelligence. And intelligence for I4 basically enables it to transmit distinct carbon monoxide or smoke alarm, and you can also transmit maintenance signals to the panel while only using 2 or 4 wires. So this allows for appropriate emergency response for a monitoring station. The intelligence of the I4 detector also reduces smoke and carbon monoxide nuisance alarms by utilizing the same reliable technology in our I3 detectors as well as our CO1224 CO detectors. The third aspect of the I4 series is instant inspection. And the I4 system's when installing the system, you can use our Easy Walk feature to quickly verify the wiring of all detectors on the loop. The detector also uses real test, which allows you to functionally test the CO sensing cell with actually just a small spray of canned carbon monoxide. So if you need to perform a smoke sensitivity testing, the I4 detector also has an external infrared LED that allows you to test the detector from a distance with our Sense RDR reader. We'll discuss the test in greater detail later on in this webinar. So there are LEDs within our detector, and each indicates different functions within the operation of this equipment. So by starting off with a green LED, excuse me, the module does insufficient visual information. So a blinking green LED tells you a detector and a module is power and is operational. A red LED indicates when there's a smoke event, while a blinking red LED indicates a smoke trouble condition. So you can distinguish between a dirty detector or one that's in freeze trouble based on the length of the blink. A solid blue LED indicates when there's a carbon monoxide event, while a blinking blue LED indicates a carbon monoxide trouble condition. And a purple LED, which actually doesn't illuminate, is an infrared LED that enables smoke sensitivity testing from an external distance. So finally, the module's yellow LED indicates when you're in easy walk mode or if there's a wiring fault on the loop. Since we've touched on the CO trouble signal of the detector and the module, let's take a second to discuss the CO sensor cell a little bit more in depth. The I4 detector utilizes an electrochemical carbon monoxide sensing cell that has a 6-year life. 30 days prior to end of life, the system will send a maintenance signal to the panel. The blue LED on both the detector and the module will blink, and this is indicating a carbon monoxide trouble condition. If the trouble condition is not addressed after a period of 30 days, an intermittent chirp will notify the homeowner that there's an issue with the detector. The I4's carbon monoxide cell is field replaceable, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about how to replace the CO cell later on when we discuss system maintenance. And so finally, let's take a look at the fourth I of the I4 principle, and that's installation ease. So first, when installing one device instead of two, you're greatly simplifying installation. And because what this means is that you're going to lose less junction boxes, you're going to pull up to 75% less wire than when installing two separate devices. So traditionally, you would have pulled 2 wires to a smoke detector, 6 wires to a CO detector. Now, with the I4 series, you'll only have to pull 2 wires to 1 detector. So this significantly lowers installation time and installation cost. So let's just look briefly at a typical installation example, and we'll see kind of how the I4 system lowers the total installation cost. So we put together an example, and this is one of a house, and a house that includes a lower level with a fuel burning appliance, a main level, and then a second floor. In a home like this, you typically require up to 6 smoke detectors and 3 CO detectors on one zone. So the system that would require that all sounders activate in the event of a smoke or carbon monoxide alarm. So there's an audible signal. So with a typical solution that there's out today, using separate smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, this installation would typically require all the parts that you see here. This includes 3 CO detectors, the 6 smoke detectors, 9 back boxes that need to be cut in, 4 spools of wire to run, and then 1 relay module. Total installation would come up to about 23 parts. Using the I4 series, the number of parts was reduced from 23 to 15 by adding a combo detector in place of standalone CO detectors and smoke detectors. And notably, it also eliminates 2/3 of the wire required. So how much money does that mean on an installation? Assuming typical market prices for devices, that the wire runs are about 30 feet in length, that wire costs about 30 cents per foot, and a $65 per hour labor rate, installation would be reduced by about 27% of cost. So we found a significant savings based on the I4 series. We definitely understand that not all projects are the same. Many are different. Some are using more devices than others. Some are using less devices, and that our customers are wanting to understand the kind of savings they could see on specific projects by using the I4 system. So to help show you that, we've put together an easy-to-use online value calculator. And what this does is estimate the savings you can achieve by using materials and labor costs in the I4 system. You can access the calculator at the I4 resource page at systemsensor.com. So installation is something we'd like to cover now. So once we've got a background on features and benefits, placement and wiring is something that we want to provide you with some more information on. So first, let's talk about combo detector placement. We recommend CO detection on every level of the house within 10 feet of all sleeping areas and in any room that contains a fuel burning appliance. So looking at this house, diagrammed here on this sheet, with the I4 system, we would recommend 1 combination detector on the main floor, 1 in the basement, 1 in the upstairs hallway, if it's within 10 feet of all the bedrooms, and 1 in the top bedroom. Within the bedrooms or sleeping spaces, compatible I3 smoke detectors would be used in accordance with NFPA 29.5.1 recommendations. The I4 detector can be placed on the wall or ceiling. We do expect most installations will be on the ceiling. Some people tend to think that CO detectors need to be placed close to the floor. This is actually incorrect. Based on its molecular weight, carbon monoxide is actually slightly lighter than air. When you consider the behavior of carbon monoxide gas, as it typically rises from the point of production, which is usually a heat event. It then mixes evenly through the air as it cools. Now, we do get asked this question about how CO disperses all the time, and it's a very understandable question, given the fact that carbon monoxide is odorless, is not visible to the eye. So we want to once again kind of restate that CO is lighter than air, and because of this, you can place combination detectors on both the wall or the ceiling. When placing a detector on the wall, it should be at least 4 inches down from the ceiling. If you're placing a detector on the ceiling, it should be at least 12 inches away from any wall and 3 feet from a peak if it's in a vaulted ceiling location. We do always recommend that you consult NFPA 72 and your local authority having jurisdiction for placement and spacing requirements that apply to code in your locale. So we covered a couple do's. We do want to run over a couple don'ts when it comes to placement. It is never recommended to place a detector within 10 feet of a cooking appliance, directly above a sink, directly above a stove or oven, next to a door or window, really where there's any place where airflow can be obstructed by furniture or curtains, outside in a garage, or where dirt and or dust can collect and block the sensor. And since the I4 series includes smoke detection, we did want to reiterate that smoke detectors shouldn't be located in places of excessively high heat, humidity, or extremely low temperatures as well. Most of our customers are very well versed in smoke installation, but if you do have any questions, we recommend that you refer to NFPA guidelines or manufacturer installation instructions. Let's briefly cover the placement of the module as well. So first, the module should be located within 20 feet of the panel. Second, for UL 864 applications, which are commercially listed panel applications, wiring connected to the I4 module must be enclosed in conduit or must be protected against mechanical injury through some similar approach. And then finally, the I4 module can be mounted inside of a metal enclosure, but when mounted in a metal enclosure, it is not necessary to use the module's plastic cover. So with that, I think David has another poll question, and we'll kick it back to him.
Very good. Thank you, Justin. All right, the next poll question is a bit of a quiz. So we get a lot of questions about where do you mount CO detectors, and now with the combination unit, it's coming up even more at the big ISC West trade show last week or the week before. Lots of questions about carbon monoxide mounting details. Justin did run through this, but we just want to do a bit of a quiz. So based on the properties of carbon monoxide, where should a carbon monoxide detector be located in a room? So please select one. Is it the ceiling? Is the wall above a light switch or the wall below a light switch? According to manufacturer's instructions, or is it in fact all of the above? So if you could take a minute to vote, we'd love you to take part in our poll questions here. And while we're doing that, we are going to answer a couple of questions. You've been a great audience with asking questions here. So I just want to make sure we get many of these answered for you. Doug or Justin, the first question comes in about the module. Does the module require external power to sound the sounders?
It does not require external power. It requires external power from the panel itself, and it gets its power like a 4-wire smoke detector. But in order to sound the sounders, it handles that without any additional power. Okay. So our next section here is wiring. So we know the module is new, and we're going to cover wiring the module and how to configure the system in our next section.
Excellent, excellent. Let me just ask you one more question, then we'll close out the poll question as well. They're saying, so one module can do 12 detectors. Can then, in fact, 2 modules be ganged together to do 24 detectors?
Well, I guess it depends on how you say gang together. You can use 2 modules on a system. And then what you can do is you can tie what is we call CO and smoke triggers on each module to an aux relay on the panel, so that you can, say, have upstairs sound and downstairs sound, even if they're both on separate modules, with up to 12 devices on each module.
All right, very good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share the poll results. So we had about 29% actually that indicated ceiling. We had a couple people that indicated the wall of below the light switch. 47% indicated according to manufacturer's instructions, and then 22% indicated all the above. Guys, what's the right answer?
We're always going to default to manufacturer's instructions when talking about installation of a device, but the combo detector can go on the ceiling. It can go on the wall as well. So some of those answers are kind of tricky in that regard, and that's what we wanted to do, was kind of open that up to discussion. But definitely refer to installation instructions, whether you're talking about the combo unit or an i3 series detector or a CO1224 CO detector.
Okay, very good. I've taken the poll results down, and I believe, Doug, we're back to you.
Yes. So as I mentioned, we're in this section going to cover wiring and configuring the system. And so what you're seeing here is wiring of the module to the panel. In essence, the panel sees the module as a 4-wire detector. Therefore, the module gets its power from smoke power. You're seeing that in the box there. Smoke power from the panel. And one of the nice things about this is because the panel sees the module as a 4-wire detector, there is no 2-wire compatibility between the panel and the module. The 2-wire compatibility comes into play between the module and the detectors itself. One thing to keep in mind is that the smoke power needs to be resettable, but I4 detectors do not require non-resettable power for carbon monoxide. That's because they preserve their carbon monoxide alarm state over a smoke alarm reset. So they have a built-in memory themselves. This next slide is showing, again, the module to the panel, and the module uses 2 to 3 zones on a panel. A smoke zone, a dedicated CO zone, and for 2-wire systems, it can use an optional maintenance zone. This maintenance zone allows distinct maintenance signals, such as a dirty detector, a detector that requires replacement, or a detector that is in freeze trouble. You don't have to report the smoke maintenance to its own zone. You can report the smoke maintenance to the smoke zone. On the next slide, I'll show you how to configure the system using the dip switches that are located on the module. Again, another thing to note on this slide here is that by code, carbon monoxide alarms must be reported on their own non-fire zone. CO alarm, CO trouble, and CO end of life will all be reported on the non-fire CO zone. So in this picture, you're seeing the module has a dip switch that can be used to configure the system. The first dip switch location is used to configure how the module will sound detectors in the temporal 3 pattern for a smoke alarm. When in the bell mode, you would connect the module to the panel's bell out circuit. When in trigger mode, you would connect the module to an aux relay on the panel that is programmed to indicate the panel is in smoke alarm. So the bell mode is used when you have a bell out circuit. The trigger mode is used when you don't have a bell out circuit and you're going to use an aux relay to trigger a temporal 3 pattern. The second dip switch is for 2-wire maintenance reporting. The factory setting for this is to report maintenance to the smoke zone, but you can select to report maintenance or smoke trouble issues to their own separate maintenance zone. The third dip switch is actually not used. Let's talk a minute about the CO trigger, which is pictured on the bottom left. All panels can be programmed with an auxiliary relay that activates upon a CO alarm condition. This output from the panel can be connected to the module CO trigger, or in the case of a smoke alarm, to the smoke trigger. The CO trigger allows different functions for whether you're on a single module installation or multiple module installation. For a single module installation, having the CO trigger set would allow you to have CO silence capability so the homeowner could hush the sounders at the keypad and answer a phone call from the monitoring station. In a multiple module installation, connecting the CO triggers would allow all sounders to be activated in a temporal 4 pattern in the event of a CO alarm on any detector loop. So, in other words, you could tie the modules together and have full system sounder interconnection. So if downstairs was on one module loop and that went into alarm, upstairs on a different module loop would also sound at the same time. In both cases, with the CO or the smoke trigger, you're going to want to connect the positive voltage from the panel. You're going to keep the relay closed and open it when you want to signal the module. This slide here is showing the smoke trigger or bell input, which allows a single module to have smoke hush capability and allows multiple module installations to have, again, all sounders activated in a temporal 3 pattern. This is similar to what I just discussed with a CO trigger. Now let's look at how the I4 detector is wired to the module on a 2-wire system. The IDC terminals on the module are wired to the detector's power in positive and negative terminals. The detector is then wired to the next detector on the loop. Again, there's only 2 wires to each detector, and then from detector to detector, the module can handle up to 12 compatible I4 and I3 detectors. This is showing wiring from one detector to the next detector, and again, you can see only 2 wires are used. At the end of the detector loop, you have a couple of options. You can use an end-of-line resistor, or you can home run the wiring back to from the last detector to the module with the optional style the terminals on the module. That's what's highlighted in the picture you're looking at. Lastly, to complete the installation, you would add the panel end-of-line smoke and CO resistors to the module in the box where shown. For further instructions on wiring, I would ask you to please check out the installation manuals. We also have a handy wiring cheat sheet on the I4 resource page located at systemsensor.com/I4. In this next section, I'm going to talk about testing the I4 system once you have your installation complete. We recommend that all detectors be tested upon installation and at least once per year thereafter. I'm going to cover 3 different types of tests here. First is our Easy Walk test. This can be used to verify the wiring on 2-wire systems. The second is smoke sensitivity testing using the Sense RDR reader. And lastly is our real test, which is the functional carbon monoxide testing using canned CO. So for the Easy Walk loop verification test, the first thing to do is to depress the test switch located on the 2-wire module with a small screwdriver. This will put the system into Easy Walk mode for 5 minutes. Each additional press of the test switch will add an additional 5 minutes to your test. You'll know you're in Easy Walk mode because the yellow LED on the module will blink, indicating that the system is in test mode. You can then walk the installation, and at each detector, the green LED will double blink, indicating that the detector has been properly wired. Once you're done checking all the detectors, the system will automatically exit Easy Walk mode when the test period has timed out. The next test I'm going to discuss is the smoke sensitivity test using our Sense RDR remote sensitivity reader. This product is sold separately. First thing, to start the test, you'll want to press the round test button on the reader to turn the reader on, it will say ready on the display when it is on. Next, you'll aim the Sense RDR directly at the detector. You'll want to be at a perpendicular angle so that you can get a reading. Then you'll wait for a beep on the Sense RDR, which will let you know that it has a reading. You can get a reading from up to 10 feet away, so you no longer have to stick it on a broomstick for most applications. The reader's screen will show the obscuration level of the detector. You can see right there it's at 2.6%. The last test I'm going to walk you through is the real test for testing the functional gas. This is to meet the requirements of NFPA 720 2010 version. To perform real test, you'll first want to depress the CO test switch on the detector. This is the test switch that is located next to the blue CO LED. That blue LED will blink, indicating the detector is in test mode. While that blue LED is blinking, spray a very small amount of canned CO directly into one of the 3 small sensing holes. It doesn't take very much canned CO to activate the cell, and also you cannot harm the cell by testing it in this fashion. Once the detector has received the CO, it will go into alarm with its blue LED lit, and within 10 seconds the module will also indicate a CO alarm with its blue LED lit and transmit an alarm signal to the panel, which will also show up at the keypad as well. This last section is going to cover maintenance. Just have a couple slides left here. First, as just alluded to, one of the things to maintain on the detector is the electrochemical CO cell, which has a 6-year life. When the CO cell has reached its end of life, it can be easily removed and replaced in the field. As you can see in the picture, it's located inside the base. You just have to remove the detector from the wall or ceiling, remove the CO cell with your fingers, and press a new one into place. Simple as that. This last slide just wants to show that the smoke chamber can be pulled out for periodic cleaning in similar fashion to our i3 series smoke detectors. And David, I'm going to turn it back to you for questions.
All right, very good. We do have several questions, and also let me launch the last poll question, which is really how can we help you question. So as you look at that there, if we've intrigued you in any way about this new i4 CO smoke detector and would like maybe the wiring instructions, the data sheet or brochure, the engineering specs, or maybe you have some questions that you really need to talk to someone, a system sensor representative you want to call, or, hey, we're open for business as well, and we'd love to help you with sales of this unit, help ourselves, I guess, with sales of this unit. So I want to buy it now, and you want to connect maybe with a local sales rep, please indicate there. So guys, lots of questions posted here. I'll start with one that is a repeat question. We probably had a dozen people post a question along these lines. They understand that this unit is designed for residential. They're wondering if it's also available for commercial installations.
David, you can use this unit for commercial installations. The module is UL 864 listed. That's the commercial listing for use with commercial panels. I would just want to emphasize that this is a conventional system, so all 12 detectors on the loop will appear as one detector to the panel, so it is not an addressable system.
Okay. Then a follow-up to that that was posted a couple times, is it listed specifically with any fire panels? So, you know, somewhat how we think of our intelligent detectors listed with many of the brands that we work with, is it specifically listed with any fire panel?
No, it is not specifically listed with any fire panel because the panel sees the module as a 4-wire device. There is no compatibility listing requirement. Like I mentioned, the 2-wire compatibility listing is between the module and the 2-wire I4 detector and the 2-wire I3 detectors.
Okay, very good. So let's go through some of the more specific questions here. First question posted, how do I know when the unit goes into the alarm? How do I know which unit goes into alarm on the loop? And then the follow-up, does the alarm light or lock in until reset?
Okay, so the first one, you'll know which detector goes into alarm on the loop. Although they all sound, the detector that went into alarm will illuminate either its red LED for a smoke alarm or its blue LED for a CO alarm. And when you would then put it, in terms of the second question, you would enter the code on the keypad, you would hush the sounders for all devices on the loop, but you would maintain that alarm state on the panel, and the central station would be notified as well. Another press on the keypad would then clear that alarm state, obviously if smoke and CO was no longer present.
Okay, all right. A question here specific to the Vista panel. He said, I'm a user of the Vista 20P panel, and I'm curious how this module would work with the Vista 20P.
Okay, this module does work with the Vista 20P. Honeywell Security does have this system set up at their tech center in Louisville. So obviously I know the detectors and not the panel so well, but they are able to walk you through setting it up. And if you need any further contact information on who to talk to there, please send me an email.
Okay, all right. And we will at the end here, just a time check here, guys. We've got about 22 minutes left. That's the extent of the PowerPoint presentation? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll work through the questions here, and we've got a bunch listed. The next question posted. So maybe it's a yes/no. So the I3 detectors, when they're wired to the module, count as one of the 12 detectors?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, all right. Next question's, when the detectors activate, is the temp 3, temporal, or temp 4 synchronized?
Well, synchronized means a lot of things. In the ECS world, probably not. It's not synchronized. They do sound in unison, so it's not a row, row, row your boat type of thing. And from module to module, they are not synchronized. They are not in unison.
Okay.
But everything that is on one module would sound together.
All right. All right. I think we've had this question posted before, but I'll ask it just in case because it's come up again. It's verifying that multiple modules can be used on a fire panel.
Correct.
Okay. All right. How does the detector distinguish fire from CO to the central station?
The detector transmits over either it's 2 wires or 4 wires the signal to the module. The module then interprets that signal, and then the module is connected to both a fire zone and a CO zone. So the module will send the alarm signal to the appropriate zone on the panel.
Okay. I have a retrofit question here. They have a situation where they have multiple 2-wire smoke detectors. They'd like to install a couple combo units, and their question, I think, is straightforward. They can leave the 2-wire units in without changing all, provided they use the module?
That's correct, as long as that is the 2 WTABs that they have installed. Then they just have to put the module by the panel.
All right. All right, very good. A couple questions about heat detectors here. First one that comes up, can we connect heat detectors on the same loop on a retrofit?
Only on the 4-wire I4 system, not on the 2-wire.
Okay, all right. Next question, I'm just taking them in order received. Would the module connect to 2 different zones, say one for smoke and another for CO?
Yes, the module is meant to connect to 2 different zones, a smoke zone and a CO zone. And then the maintenance zone is optional.
Okay. This is another question on the Vista panel. maybe a slightly different variation. Will the i4 operate on an addressable loop of the Vista series panels?
The Vista panel would see it as one device. It would not be truly addressable, so it would operate, but it would see all those detectors as just one device.
Okay, all right. They know that the life of a CO detector is approximately 6 years. They're wondering about the warranty period for the new combo CO smoke detector.
The warranty period is consistent with our current products. It is 3 years.
Okay, all right. And is there an estimated cost of the replacement CO cell?
I believe that is between $45 and $50 would be distributor estimated price.
Okay. Next question, why the difference? Why is the smoke detector 10 years recommended replacement and now a CO detector is 6 years? What's the basis for that?
I believe it has to do with the nature of the electrochemical CO cell, and over time that cell loses its ability to detect CO. In essence, it sort of dries up.
Okay, all right.
So
a question on commercial installations. Is the new i4 listed for R3 commercial installations?
David, I think you've stumped us this one.
All right. Well, we have a couple code guys on our staff. We'll get back to the person who answered that question. So let's see here. Next question, is the CO end-of-life signal based on an actual sensor condition, or is it based on a calendar or timing out algorithm?
It's a great question, actually. It is actually based on a timer. Each CO cell has a built-in timer, and 30 days prior to reaching that 6 years, it will send an alarm, a trouble signal to the panel. And if 30 days go by and it is not attended to by entering a new CO cell in the detector itself will start to chirp.
And if people are concerned about just whether or not the detector is still detecting CO over time, we definitely recommend they use the real test feature to spray some canned CO in there and see if it goes into alarm.
Okay. Another retrofit question, are the new i4 units, do they use the same as the i3 in terms of bases?
No, they have their own base.
Okay.
They mount to similar junction boxes.
Okay, good. I'm just going to rapid fire through these. We've got a number of questions posted here, so thank you for posting your questions. If we don't get to them live, we will follow up with you after. Will the unit send a CO end-of-life signal to the central station, or is the homeowner notified?
So that 30 days prior to the end of life, that signal goes to the panel, and that would notify the central station. And then if the homeowner has not responded to the central station's calls to set up service, after 30 days, the detector will chirp so that the homeowner has to take a proactive measure.
Okay, all right. They're curious, they do a lot of wireless installations, and they're wondering if there's a wireless version of i4 available.
There is not a wireless version presently available. Okay. Stay tuned on that one.
All right. Attendees asking about the web address, systemsensor.com/i4 would be the web address for all the information, all the materials that you might need for everything about i4, data sheets, brochures, engineering specs, CAD files. There's a video there as well. Let's see. What do we recommend? Let's see. The question is recommended number of detectors where CO is needed but not smoke. I guess is that a way of asking if the existing CO detectors are able to be used on this module?
I'm not sure. I think he's or she is asking how many CO detectors we recommend in a application.
Could be.
I think that's going back to those guidelines. It's one on each level of an occupancy. And if you're doing the upstairs, you would want to put one in the upstairs hallway. If the master bedroom has a fuel-burning appliance like a fireplace, you would put one within 10 feet of that fuel-burning appliance. Same goes for the first level and the basement. It really is a matter of how many fuel-burning appliances are in that home, whether they have electric or natural gas. Even occupancies that are on electric should have CO detection on every floor. There's a lot of instances out there where automobiles are left running in the garage, or someone has run a generator in their garage, cooked with a grill inside, all sorts of things like that.
Okay, all right. Let's see here. Another question about synchronization, but I know we've answered that one. They're wondering about the difference between this detector and some of the addressable multi-criteria detectors. They're wondering what the difference is in the technology.
That's a good question, too. So a multi-criteria detector is looking for, just like it says, a bunch of criteria to detect smoke. So it's looking for the presence of CO in order to reduce nuisance alarms and detect smoke. This is actually performing smoke detection by way of photoelectric smoke detection, and it's also separately looking for CO and protecting a homeowner or a place of business from CO. It's not screening, and having to have both to alarm. It's one or the other.
Okay, all right. One of our HJs listening in has indicated that following manufacturer's instructions is always correct and advised. So he's reinforcing that point. He's out of New Hampshire here, but I'm sure that all HJs listening in today would back that up as well.
Yeah, I think there's an important note with that as well. Why we want people to follow manufacturer's instructions is because in all of our products are tested with UL, Underwriters Laboratory, and this product in particular was tested both on the wall and on the ceiling. So we've verified through them proper placement in both conditions.
Okay, very good. Attendees asking, will this presentation be available for download? I mentioned in our opening remarks, we will provide this as an archive at systemsensor.com/training, and should be up in a couple days. And that is available for download, or you can view it live from the website. Next question, can you use a CO sounder interconnect, or can you have a CO sounder interconnect and still have hush capabilities?
The answer to that is yes. So you could still hush with the first press on the keypad would hush everything, but when they went into alarm initially, they would be interconnected and everything would sound in a temporal 4 pattern.
All right. And then he posed the same question for smoke. Can you have smoke interconnect and still have hush capability?
Yes, that's true.
Same. All right. Are either bell output or trigger output available to be synced?
Yes, if you take the bell output from the panel to the module or the trigger, smoke trigger output, that would allow you to sync multiple modules. Otherwise, the module will do the interconnection of all the sounders into temporal 3.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and take down that last poll question because I know you guys have your contact information. Why don't you go to that now so the attendees can see that. So if you do want to get in touch with Doug or Justin, email is oftentimes the best way. Go ahead and email them at those addresses there. We'll continue the questioning until the top of the hour. We do have a number of them posted here. How is the wiring between the module and the detectors supervised?
walk? Is it? I mean, if they're asking about easy walk to verify if there's trouble with whether the wiring is working or not, we have that functionality in there. But if I'm not answering the question, I would definitely say that they shoot us an email and maybe clarify a little bit, and we can get back to them on that.
All right. Another heat detector question. You've answered that before. Let's see here. Some repeats. Is there, I think you've answered this, but is there a supervisory or trouble alarm when the CO cell exceeds its end of life? That's a yes, right?
Yep.
Yep.
A blinking blue LED on the detector itself.
Yep.
Also on the module, and it will send that notification to the panel, which would, obviously would alert the central station.
Okay. Question about the CO end of life. Does that start at date of manufacturing or date of installation?
That's actually a clock timer from date of manufacture.
Okay. Let's see. What is the panel module compatibility, and do we have a chart?
Like I mentioned before, there's no compatibility between the panel and the module. The panel sees the module as a 4-wire detector, so it gets its power like a 4-wire smoke, and then it connects to the smoke zone into a CO zone. On our website, we have our 2-wire compatibility, and you will see the module is listed with the compatible detectors. That's the I4 detectors and the I3 detectors.
Okay. All right. Question about CO detector disposal. Is there a proper procedure for CO detector disposal?
There's follow the same procedures as you would disposing any electronics. I think those are state-by-state requirements.
Okay. All right. Can the detector trouble be disabled in temperatures between 32 and 40 degrees?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Why would you need a 4-wire module?
Well, 4-wire modules are used for 4-wire detectors, so if you're retrofitting a existing 4-wire application, you could use a 4-wire module. Also, the 4-wire system allows you to use heat detectors as well, where the 2-wire system does not.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Can the CO trigger be used in UL 864 panels?
Actually, that's a great question, Dave. No, you cannot use CO hush in a UL 864 application.
Okay. All right. So next question, we do hotel systems where the common areas are addressable and the room detectors are 4-wire conventional. Can the module be connected to the addressable data loop?
I know a lot of addressable panels have modules that can be used with conventional detectors, and so it's possible. It just might not be the most elegant installation.
Okay. All right. Next question, is the module 12 and 24 volt compatible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do we know an estimated current draw on the 12 detectors plus module?
Actually, I don't have that in front of me, but we do have an FAQ on that resource page, systemsensor.com/I4, that shows how to determine the current draw.
Okay. What's the recommended back box for the module?
The module mounts to a 4 11/16 inch back box.
Okay. All right. Can the addressable modules be integrated for point-by-point reporting?
The answer to that is no, because it is a conventional module.
Okay. I'll just keep going here. Lots of questions. For an application with 24 detectors, can one module trigger another to sound all 24?
The answer to that is no, but the aux relay that you would create on the panel could be used to sound both modules. You would just wire that one aux relay to the trigger inputs on two different modules.
Okay. The next one, he understands that the I4 detector is made for residential and multifamily. What would be some common commercial or other commercial applications for the I4 detector?
I think like a small daycare facility would be a great application for this.
Okay.
One that comes to mind.
All right. Next one, they understand that the CO sensing chamber can be replaced. Does the smoke detector chamber also be replaced? Can that also be replaced?
It can be removed for cleaning. It isn't. We don't sell those chambers separately to be replaced.
Okay.
But technically, it could because it can be removed.
All right. Question here about polarity reversal modules. Will you still need to use a polarity reversal module, or does this module take the place of that module?
This module actually replaces that module, so you no longer need the RSS mod to do the reverse polarity.
Okay.
That's built into this.
All right. Next question, where does the 10-year replacement requirement come from? Or is it a manufacturer recommendation?
That's actually a manufacturer recommendation. There's no requirement out there.
Yeah, we've received a lot of questions on that in the past, and yeah, it's not a firm date, but it's just a guideline to definitely check your detectors and make sure they're functioning properly.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Is there a reset required after replacing the CO cell?
Yes, because when you take the detector down and remove the CO cell and put a new cell in, just by taking the detector down, you're going to get a wiring trouble. When you put the detector up, you'll have to do a reset on the keypad, which will clear any of the trouble signals that you got in removing that device.
Okay, very good. Well, we are at the top of the hour, and we promised to hold this to an hour. There are a number of other questions posted, and I will make sure that those get to Doug and Justin for follow-up. On behalf of System Sensor, I want to thank you for joining us today. As a follow-up, we will send you a brief survey in about an hour, and would appreciate your help in filling that out. And we will reward one of you that completes the survey with a $50 Amazon gift card. Thank you again for joining us on the webinar today. This does conclude our event. Please have a nice rest of the day.